Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. Big weekend for toy fans. It was the 2020 New York Toy Fair, and to paraphrase the Nature Boy Ric Flair, with a tear in my eye, this was the greatest toy fair of my life. Even though I didn't attend in person, it looked like it was jam-packed with so many awesome items. Every single year Toy Fair comes around, there's usually only one thing that really catches my attention, but this one really transported me back to the 80s, to the days of catalogs, Sears catalogs, consumers distributing catalogs, and the catalogs that came with toys. Just looking through all of the amazing pictures that were posted all over different websites, news sites, Twitter. It was really, really amazing to see the awesome stuff that's going to be coming out over the next year. So I'm going to touch on a lot of the things that were unveiled at Toy Fair, and I want to start with the thing that I was most excited about. We are getting Kenner Real Ghostbusters reissue figures. I first saw the picture over on GhostbustersNews.com, great site for all Ghostbusters news, and they're reissuing the original 80s Real Ghostbusters figures on the original cards, and it doesn't look like they're going to muck up the edges like they are doing with the vintage collection, vintage retro reissue Star Wars figures. Little Kenner logo in the bottom corner. I've wanted these guys mint on card for quite some time. I've got the open ones, the original ones from my childhood, but I've wanted the carded ones to put on the wall, and Diamond Select put out some the larger ones, Diamond Select style superposable Real Ghostbusters a while back, and I kind of wanted to get them just for the sole purpose of they sort of look like the Kenner ones. But I decided to pass on them. They've really shot up in value, so congrats to everyone who grabbed those. But I love that these are being reissued, that there aren't any major differences from what I can tell. It looks like even the color of the proton streams is going to be the colors they originally were. It kind of looked in the first picture I saw, maybe they were all going to be like a yellowy or orangey color, or go from orange to yellow. But Venkman does have his green stream. Egon has his red stream. So I think that's super exciting. I'm very happy for all Ghostbusters fans that don't have them already or had them and wish they could get them again but haven't been able to track them down. So that is awesome news, and definitely of all the things revealed at Toy Fair, the thing that I'm most excited for getting and adding to the mint on card wall in the 80s Toy Museum. Hasbro also unveiled their new Ghostbusters Plasma series. So they're coming up with different names for every 6-inch scale. Star Wars has the Black Series, G.I. Joe, which I'll get to in a bit, has the Classified series, and Ghostbusters has the Plasma series. And these look really cool too. Mattel had the license before, and they did some slightly bigger than G.I. Joe figures. Diamond Select had the license for a while, so it's kind of been like a hot potato being passed around. But these have that classic Hasbro funness to them. Great sculpts, but also something that you can futz around with, play around with, and have some fun with. So those are on the way too. And Joe fans all around the world rejoiced because G.I. Joe was there! The G.I. Joe Classified 6-inch series was unveiled. Can't ignore the mixed reaction that the Joe fans are having. Snake Eyes was originally unveiled, and I did that video on leaked footage, and I thought he looked fantastic because he looked very close to the 85 Snake Eyes. Roadblock, Scarlet, and Duke were also revealed, and I think they look really cool. I've had a lot of people asking me, what do I think of them? And I think they look nice, but I'm with a lot of the folks who say, but they aren't the 80s figures. I'm holding out hope, and fairly confident, just like I was confident G.I. Joe wasn't dead, it was just napping. I'm confident we will see those classic figures in the 6-inch scale. Just for now, they're going to put these guys out. I don't know if these are the actual designs we'll see in the movie. That might be kind of cool if we're seeing a sneak peek to Duke, Roadblock, and Scarlet and Snake Eyes in the Snake Eyes movie later this year. I think it comes out later this year. But when I look at them, I have the exact same feeling as when I see a Resolute character or a Renegades figure. I think, that's cool. That's inspired by the original one. But personally for me, it's not the original one. So if I have a choice between the classic and the new evolved version, I'm going to go with the classic. That's what has an emotional attachment for me. If I have enough in the budget to get them both, then I will. But going back to the 25th anniversary line, my priority was getting all the classic versions of the figures. And then if there was a little bit of money left over, then I would get the newer versions, like new characters in Pursuit of Cobra, or classic characters with a new outfit in Pursuit of Cobra, kind of like Gung Ho with the vest on him. So I think they look cool, and once again, I'm extremely happy for all the Joe fans that love them. And I do feel like I need to just take a minute here and ask that folks who really dislike these, you can really dislike them. You're free to do that. No one is telling you that you're not allowed to dislike these or dislike anything. You're allowed to dislike anything you want, but just remember that it's nice when people are happy. It's really nice when people are happy and excited about something. And think back to a time you were really happy and excited about something, and someone came up to you and they were really angry, they were really upset, and they really hated what you liked. It's very hard to maintain your enthusiasm when you have someone who is that loud and upset. So just dislike it on your own Facebook wall or whatever your platform might be, but just don't invade other people's space, and make a concerted effort to let people who are happy about this know how angry and upset you are. And by the same token, if you're excited about it and you don't enjoy seeing all these people hate on it, like for example, if you're on a Facebook group and you see someone post a public message on a Facebook group saying they hate it, stay out of the Facebook group or block that person so you don't have to see what they have to say. If you post something on a public group or a forum and saying you really like it, and someone replies to you, that's what I'm talking about. That's going after a specific person, and it might not feel like it, but that is trying to steal another person's joy. Instead of just moving on, just walking on, leaving them alone. Sometimes people just can't do it. They can't help it. They have to do it. Either they're attention seekers or they're completely oblivious to the effect they're having on other people. So the people who are very happy and enthusiastic in this situation and every situation, you need to walk on. You need to leave that discussion, leave that group, leave that forum, or use that block feature so that they had their one shot. They made it good, like Dusty Rhodes would say, but they're not going to get any more opportunity to try to steal your joy going forward. Oh boy, I don't know what to do next. There was so much released this year. It's crazy, but thefwoosh.com has some amazing coverage of the Toy Fair. It looks like Empire Strikes Back is going to be the classic Star Wars movie that's featured over the next year. New Black Series figures coming at you. And hello, what have we here? The old Smoothie is getting a 6-inch release. It looks like Bespin Luke Skywalker is coming out. A little baby Yoda, the child from The Mandalorian, is being released. Plus a couple of other prequel era figures. The Dooku looks nice. The Anakin Skywalker. You know, say what you will about the character of Anakin Skywalker in the prequels, but one thing that I think a lot of people won't dispute is the costume is fantastic. I thought Anakin's costume looked awesome, so the figure looks cool. Another figure that I'm super stoked for that was shown off, he has come here to kick keister and chew bubblegum, and he's all out of bubblegum. We are finally getting a Roddy Piper from John Carpenter's They Live figure, and I don't believe there's ever been a John Nada figure ever made from that movie. Come to think of it, not too many toys of any John Carpenter movie have been made. Not much for The Thing. There was I think one R.J. McCready NECA style figure made a long time ago. A couple Snake Plisskens here and there, a couple Jack Burtons here and there. But NECA, whatever, is doing an 8-inch Roddy Piper figure from They Live. So he's going to have actual clothing on him, and it doesn't quite look like a Mego figure. It looks a little more detailed than a Mego, approaching more a 12-inch scale figure. So the smaller scale is, I think, actually cool. You can have them just sitting on your desk and not take up quite as much real estate as a 12-inch figure. And it's just really, really awesome to finally see that figure, because I think it's John Carpenter's last great movie. When I think of the great movies of John Carpenter, I think of The Thing, Escape from New York, Big Trouble in Little China, and They Live. So it's cool to finally have a figure from that last classic, iconic, infinitely rewatchable John Carpenter movie. And I haven't seen the packaging for it, but I think it would be really funny if there was a little spot on the bubble, a little indent for bubblegum, and even label it bubblegum, and it's empty because he's all out of bubblegum. Reaction figures seem to be the new Funko Pops. It seems like every recognizable character is getting a reaction figure, and some that really caught my eye were the Transformers reaction figures. It's amazing how tastes change over the years, and Action Masters, even though I had a couple when I was young, I was still buying Transformers out of habit, and I thought it was really cool to be able to actually afford a bunch of Transformers because the Action Masters were so cheap. They're basically G.I. Joe cost. But they haven't really stood the test of time for me. But these new reaction Transformers look awesome. I didn't know I had that nostalgia for Action Masters, but when I see them, I think of the good times I had with Action Masters. I think they look fantastic. If you've got that old Optimus Prime Action Master truck, hopefully these will fit in it. These would probably look cool all over that truck, because it's got a bunch of pegs that you can put figures on the sides and seats for them to sit to. And I like that the Devastator is a little bit bigger than the other figures too. And more reaction stuff. Reaction Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Beavis and Butthead, Toxic Crusader, Aliens figures, Army of Darkness, Thundercats figures, classic movie monsters, and here's one for my wife, Jem and the Holograms, reaction figures, finally something of Jem. So hopefully that opens the door for some more Jem collectibles coming out. Who knows, maybe we'll see 6-inch scale of Jem and the Holograms, or some more affordable 12-inch Jem figures. Plus, Super 7 unveiled pictures of the new Thundercats Classics figures, which look amazing. Finally, a Chitara figure, and they've got Slythe, I think that's Captain Cracker there, and a magnificent looking Jaga. Jaga is such an awesome presence. This is the, I guess, the living version of Jaga. He's not see-through yet, but that looks fantastic, and I'm hoping for an eventual repaint of him made of translucent plastic or maybe glow-in-the-dark blue plastic, so we can get the astral plane spirit of Jaga as well. There was an announcement a while back that Jazzwares had the G.I. Joe license, and everyone had their fingers crossed for either 3 3/4 or 6-inch Jazzwares figures. Nothing from Jazzwares on the G.I. Joe front, and now there's some question as to if that's actually going to happen, but Jazzwares did unveil something pretty awesome. It's Be the Elite. It's the new AEW All Elite Wrestling figures from Jazzwares, and I think they look awesome. I think hopefully they will be the exact same scale as the Mattel WWE figures, so they can co-mingle, so you can have inter-promotional matches. No invasions though, please. I mean, these invasions, just for a quick aside, these invasions don't work. I never buy it when one organization invades another organization. I buy it when individuals or groups, like the Four Horsemen, invade. Like if Chris Jericho's group of the Inner Circle were to invade a WWE show, I would buy that a lot more than all of a sudden these guys who hate each other and fight each other and try to blind each other every week at AEW are a cohesive unit and invade an opposing company. It doesn't make any sense. But the All Elite figures look fantastic. You got old Death Rider there, John Moxley. No eye patch. Maybe you could just make an easy one yourself that kind of rides up and doesn't sit right on him. The Natural, Dustin Rhodes is there. Fantastic looking figure. And Hangman Page. They've got some removable pieces from them. Clothing. The Young Bucks look awesome. The jackets on the Young Bucks are great. The Chris Jericho figure looks amazing. Kenny Omega is there. Cody with the sledgehammer from one of his memorable entrances, and the Dream tattooed on his chest. That's awesome. So those AEW figures I think look fantastic, and I mentioned it in the live stream. Those are really special. I think I always really vividly remember when a new action figure line is released. The original LJN figures, and then when Hasbro took over the WWF figures, and then the Toy Biz WCW figures, and then the TNA figures. So everyone who's been included in this first batch of AEW figures, congratulations. I think that's a very high honor, and I think they look fantastic. And Transformers, holy smokes. If the only thing that had been at the Toy Fair was Transformers, I think a lot of toy fans would have been very, very satisfied. So many awesome Transformers items unveiled there. The big one that I'm most excited about is Scorponok. That's a little bit of unfinished business. Always wanted a Scorponok that was the same size as Fortress Maximus, or a Fortress Maximus that's the same size as G1 Scorponok, I guess. I always felt like they should be the same size, just like Metroplex and Trypticon are, and the Combiners are the same size as their rival. So this Scorponok is going to be colossal. They say he's going to be Fort Max sized, and that's amazing. What's even more amazing is the sculpt looks incredible. All of these Earthrise sculpts look to me almost masterpiece level of quality, if not actual, just as good as the Masterpiece or the third-party Masterpiece figures. That Scorponok looks incredible. The proportions are perfect. They're fantastic. The head looks fantastic. The coloring is great. I can't wait to add him to the collection and have him struggling and battling out with Fortress Maximus. And then there's a couple of other guys who I won't be getting probably, but still look amazing, and I still enjoy looking at the pictures. The Skylynx looks fantastic, as well as Double Dealer, who was a really cool Power Master back in the day. And then some great looking deluxe class figures, particularly Smokescreen I thought looked fantastic, and a great looking RC as well, who might look like she has too much of a backpack kibble on her, but luckily that's removable, so you can get her to look a little bit more movie accurate, and that's another bit of unfinished business since we never got an RC back in the 80s. And over on the Marvel side, some of the ones that really caught my eye were the figures from the first X-Men movie. So Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is the perfect Wolverine. I don't know if anyone will ever be any better than him, so I might be picking some of those up, and lots of other Marvel figures there. Lots of all sorts of stuff there. Too much to go through it all, but this was just well, I tried to make it quick, but there was just too much stuff there. But one thing that this really does remind me of is back in the day when you would open up those giant catalogs and look at all of the stuff that was available, and you had to make your choice. And when you made that choice, that one thing that you chose among everything else became so much more special because that's the one that you chose. And I think that's the feeling a lot of people are going to get from this past Toy Fair. With so many amazing things coming out, who can afford all of it? You get to pick your one, and you get to really be excited about it and anticipate it. And hopefully when you finally get it, it will satisfy that anticipation. And if it doesn't, move on, walk on, find something else to be excited about, or just appreciate something that's already in your collection. So that's my thoughts on the 2020 New York Toy Fair, and I want to hear what you thought of this past Toy Fair and what you are most excited about. So if you have a thought you'd like to share, scroll down and go to town, and to join the tribe, hit subscribe. Nerdmas Day.